Cammy is having
you're
fun.
live.
We're live now?
Yep, you're live.
You got to give me a countdown,
The
man.
countdown is now.
All right. Well, thank you, producer Trent, and welcome to another edition of Table Talk, where there is always room at the table. And I like, y'all just don't even have any idea. I look so forward to every single time that I get to sit down and talk with Dr. Gloria Bonner. But I'm going to introduce her here in just a sec officially. I do have to do some business real quick. Mr. Bryan Nale, now with First Horizon, although he didn't actually move, they just kind of combined. Yes, there was a meeting of the banks there.
Yep.
And so First Horizon Mortgage, Mr. Bryan Nale, the best mortgage lender that I know, at least. Member of your Rotary Club, as a matter of fact. That's
Bryan.
right. Yes.
Strong supporter.
Absolutely. So he's a fan of all things that are going right in the world.
That's it.
And of course, producer Trent back there that didn't give me a countdown today just set us off and said,
5,
"Go
4, 3, 2, 1." You're ready.
Thanks, man. Appreciate that. And so spread the positive here, and we'll do a little pitch for them at the end.
Yes.
Of the episode. But
Yes.
here she is, my favorite human being, Dr. Gloria Bonner.
You're too much.
Did you know we had a live studio audience? Yeah, they're next door. So.
You make me feel special.
So Dr. Bonner, if y'all have never had a chance to meet Dr. Bonner, you need to seek her out because she absolutely brings light into a room whenever she just simply walks in. And she is brilliant. She is caring and giving. And how many boards do you serve on or have you served on?
Oh my, currently about 15 boards.
That is crazy, Dr. Bonner.
But let me say this about you.
Oh, no. This show's not about me.
Student of mine. I just want to let you know how proud I am of you for being such a beacon in this community.
Well, thank you.
And you know, the greatest honor that a student can pay to a teacher, their educator, is to become a productive citizen. And you have excelled in that area.
Well, I appreciate
think
that.
You're exceptional.
I am flying today without a hanky, so tread lightly, okay? Because I'll have to use my sleeves here in just a minute. But that is extremely high praise from someone that is extremely praiseworthy. So thank you so much for that. So Dr. Bonner, current president of the Murfreesboro Noon Rotary Club.
Exactly.
And how long have you been a Rotarian?
I believe I joined the club in 2008.
Okay.
Professor John Long from the University of Virginia was my sponsor.
No kidding.
So it was just an exciting journey. John, as you know, was a member of the Murfreesboro Noon Club, and he passed away about 3 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
But his wife worked for me on the MTSU campus, Miss Lou Long, for 17 years.
Oh, wow.
And she was a computer expert.
Oh, yeah?
Wow. Yes. Great memories.
That's awesome. So, Dr. Bonner, you worked at MTSU for, you were just saying this, 28 years?
32 years.
32 years.
Yes.
Okay.
And I joined MTSU in 1985 under the legendary Ralph White as the department chair in ed leadership. Now, his legend was that he was department chair for 29 years.
Oh, wow.
And just extended so much compassion to me. Just loved Dr. Ralph White and his family. They all embraced me. But with the Department of Ed leadership, I'll have to share this with you. I was recruited by my former instructor, Dr. Jan Hayes. The Hayes family, and my condolences are extended to that family still, because Coach Dean Hayes
just recently passed away.
And the university's getting ready to host a public memorial on June 4th.
Another legend.
Yes.
In Coach Hayes.
Oh my, 57 years. And plus, the unique thing about Dean Hayes, not only is he a legendary track coach, but he was one of the few coaches in the history of the institution that was a tenured faculty member in the Health and Human Performance Department.
I didn't know that.
Yes.
Okay.
So he taught every class that he taught, I tried to take.
That was a good plan. And he won gazillions of championships.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, recruited literally worldwide.
Exactly.
Just a phenomenal human being.
That's right. That's
and,
right.
And absolutely an MTSU legend. So if you're true blue,
Mhm.
you know who Dean Hayes was.
Dean Hayes
and
and
his
Jan,
Mhm.
they were just a power couple. And every course she taught in ed leadership, in curriculum and instruction, I tried to take every course she taught.
I believe that. And I imagine you probably succeeded in that.
Oh, yeah. You know, it appears as if a third of my degree was from Jan and Dean.
That's awesome. I actually like them better than the Beach Boys anyway. You know, Jan and Dean was fantastic. But anyway, so if you get that reference, then you like
Right.
beach music. If you don't get it, I can't help you. But so Dr. Bonner, the very
Yes.
first time I met you,
Mhm.
I was probably 20, maybe 19, and I had just changed my major to elementary education.
Right.
And they said, you got to go see Dr. Bonner. And I said, okay, because I had to get a placement for a what is that called? Not student teaching, the other thing.
The field
practicum.
experience.
Yes.
Yeah, the required field experiences.
Yes. And they said, you need to go to Dr. Bonner's office. And at 19 years old, you have to, I mean, that's like going to the principal's office. And I had no idea what to expect, right? I'm picturing this just super powerful, super mean, the department chair.
Probably
right?
a male. You probably
Most
thought,
likely,
Dr.
yes.
Bonner, that's a man.
It was Gloria, so I assumed it wasn't a guy named Gloria, but it could have been. I mean, who knows, right? And so I go up and I was nervous, and I walk in, and you come out, and you're just smiling, and you're just, oh, you changed your major, blah blah blah, and it was,
Right.
and I was just like, wow,
Uh-huh.
this is the kind of educator I want to be. This
Oh.
is an example. That's what I want to be right there. And I didn't stick with elementary ed. I found out that I don't really like little kids as much as I thought I did. It takes a special kind of person to do that, and I'm not it. But I did end up going and doing business ed at the high school level, and I could hang with that. So I came back to your office
Exactly.
to get a student teaching placement.
Mhm.
And at that point, I knew that I was okay to actually go
of
and
course.
speak with you. There was no great Oz behind the curtain type deal.
Well, on the average, here's the truth. On the average, every dean realizes that the average student, once they enroll in college, will change their major a minimum of 4 times.
Well, then I'm average. That's exactly how many times I did it. That's perfect. See, Dad, I told you it was okay.
Yeah.
And she said so. I'm talking to you, Dad, if you're watching.
Of
We're good.
Of course. But you were always above average.
Yeah, well, I didn't change it 5 times.
You're a thinker. You are a thinker, critical thinker.
Yeah.
So you explored every option.
I did, even the ones that didn't really get me anywhere. Oh, goodness. That's funny. But I've asked you this question before.
Okay.
In the time that you were at MTSU, 32 years, how many educators or future educators did you impact?
Oh, I have no idea. I just cannot even begin to count because, see, I was fortunate enough to begin my career as a teacher at Mitchell Nielsen Elementary School.
Mm-hmm.
Then Baxter Hopgood was the superintendent. So let me give you an example of what I mean by that. The recent appointment at MTSU of Kay Jernigan, for example, who retired from the Murfreesboro Fire Department after 33 years.
Wow.
Well, I taught Kay in 5th grade. And she's still a leader.
How
And we've
fantastic
had
is that?
these great conversations. So when she applied for the job, I said, Kay, why not? And because I knew then as a 10-year-old, she had it in her as a leader. And that part of you doesn't leave you.
Mm-hmm.
So when you think of all the young people that I've had the privilege of working with in 5th grade or 3rd grade at Bellwood, or regardless, when I taught in Atlanta schools, DeKalb County schools, it really doesn't matter. But now, 30 years later or 40 years later, when they come up to you, and the only question I can ask now is, was I good to you? And I
Have you ever had somebody say no?
No,
Because
but
I need names if they did, because I'm going to go take care of that.
But you want it to be a resounding yes.
Yeah.
You know?
I do.
So I'm just honored to have the opportunity, because imagine the number of people who live their entire lives and never really get to fulfill the purpose for which they were created.
Wow.
So it just does my heart good to see that at some point I made an impact to not only teach, but develop as well as inspire.
Well, and I feel like it's safe to say that people that have encountered you, whether it's in their teacher training, whether it's in a classroom, whether it's at Rotary Club, whether it's on the gazillions of boards that you have served and continue to serve, whether it's, you know, the wine around the square event that honored you a few years ago, that, you know, sometimes there's a song called Ripple, and sometimes just that time that I met you in the office, you know, whatever it was, 15 minutes, where we got my teacher appointment done. We went through that. I turned in my, I don't think I even turned in a portfolio to you, because I think it went to Dr. McGrew.
Exactly.
If I remember correctly.
Linda McGrew.
That's right. And in those moments, the pebble was thrown and the ripples were made. And so when you impact one, they can go and impact hundreds,
right,
thousands, maybe,
as you were doing.
Exactly. And it's pretty cool when you have the privilege of encountering people that throw bigger pebbles.
That's true. That's true. And, you know, and it speaks to the power of surrounding yourself with people who will encourage you to continue to grow and develop.
Yes.
And I've always been grateful for that opportunity to learn from so many individuals in that regard.
And you know what I have found, and I continue, I know this intellectually, I know this, but I've learned it more, and I feel like I continue to learn it more and more emotionally, spiritually, and intellectually.
Exactly.
Is that every single person that I encounter, every single one of them, has a story that I can learn from, and has some nugget of wisdom that I can glean if I will allow myself to do it.
Exactly. And you do that with an open mind and an open heart.
Yes.
And it will manifest.
And you ignore when you're having a bad day and you are mad at the world and nothing's going. I had a really lousy day yesterday, just so you know. And I know that I missed opportunities to have learned from someone or to potentially brighten someone else's day, because I was so wrapped up in my own problems, in my own head, that I closed myself off.
But the beauty of that is you learn from that as well, because here we are, March 1, 2022, and it's a new day, and you get a new opportunity to make a difference in a new way.
That's right. That's right. I love it. This is why I love this lady. I mean, come on, y'all. That's good stuff right there. We could stop the pot. That's Trent. Clip that. Post it. We're good. But But I want to talk to you about something that I know is a passion of yours
Okay.
and is very dear to your heart. And I've only recently learned about it, being basically since you and I have
Sure.
grown this friendship, and that's Holloway High School.
Oh my. Oh my. I love Holloway High School.
I know you do. And I want everybody, and I love the stories. And
Yeah.
I would love for you to share some of those stories. I know you attended there.
Yes.
And it has undergone lots of changes through the years.
Sure.
And there's kind of a bit of a renaissance going on.
Definitely. Yes.
And I don't even know how to ask you where to start. So I'm just going to say start.
Well, let's start with this. There is a Bradley Academy that is now a museum and a cultural center.
Mm-hmm.
I did not get the opportunity to attend that school. My parents did,
Mm-hmm.
and my oldest brother. So my class, when we enrolled in first grade, we were the first class to enroll at Bradley Elementary School on Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard in Murfreesboro.
Mm-hmm.
We were the
School's
first.
Still there, right?
It's still there. Mm-hmm. The first full class to enroll in first grade there. Then fast forward to 1964, I enrolled in Holloway High School as a freshman.
Still in the same location?
Same location,
mm-hmm.
right there on Highland. And we were the last graduating class from Holloway High School as a segregated school.
Right.
Then it closed down and they reassigned the students to other schools in their respective communities. So we consider ourselves the alpha and the omega of that whole institution there.
Sure. Yeah.
So my first, my elementary school principal, Mrs. Emma G. Roberts, became one of my mentors, along with Dr. Mary Tomberry, who was in charge of elementary and special ed at MTSU, and then the legendary Miss Ruth Boughton, who started Classroom on Wheels in Murfreesboro. But that was such a powerful program. It went international. She converted a school bus into a classroom, and she pulled up that bus into underserved communities where preschool kids could attend school in their own communities with their parents. So she was instrumental in creating parental education along with their children.
Trying to keep so with the young kids,
bridging
move them
that gap.
forward.
Yes.
But
yes.
In theory, the adults were probably lacking.
Exactly.
So you could
and they were probably in homes, not all of them, but the majority of them, where she was introducing the concept of books, because many of the homes did not have books in it. And they would check out the books and return them the next week. But these were books that parents were taught to read to their children. So it was exposing them to literacy at the same time.
Wow.
So I had the best mentors possible, in addition to my elementary school teachers, along with my high school teachers, because we didn't have middle school then. But primarily, my mom and dad were amazing. They were community leaders. They were sports enthusiasts. And I can remember my mother playing softball. So we had to sit on the bench as we watched her play third base. She taught all the kids in the neighborhood how to swim, how to play tennis. And we couldn't play tennis at Central or MTSU. So she taught us how to play tennis so we could compete in Nashville in the tournaments at Tennessee State University.
Wow.
Then it was Tennessee A&I University.
Mhm.
but they were very, very involved. My parents were coaches, and they coached Little League baseball as well as the older kids. They were den mothers and fathers. So we had house. Our home was always full of children, or the yard. So even now, I'm 71 years old, and my peers remember throwing apples and pears at them, chasing them out of the backyard. We had a fun life.
It sounds like it.
But my parents were great teachers. Members of my church community were great teachers and advocates for us, and our teachers. We cannot say enough for the educators in the community that helped us to understand the significance of a quality educational program.
And you know, and forgive me, these are probably going to be ignorant statements, but it's 1964. We're coming
Yes.
up to you know, it's kind of coming to a head as far as segregation,
Right.
desegregation. You've got areas of the country where the National Guard gets involved. I mean, it's crazy,
True.
right? And it's crazy that was, to me, it's mind blowing to even think about that as a thing, right?
I know.
Like
I know.
I can't even really fathom that, you know. But meanwhile, you're graduating from Holloway.
Exactly.
You received a fantastic education
I did.
and rich life. You have, you know, since then done all kinds of other educational opportunities through university, through all the other classes that you've attended just because you wanted to, which I'm trying to understand that too. I don't even understand that. But did you do the homework and everything?
Oh, yes.
Oh, of course
you
you
had
did.
to. Well, my best friend, well, her dad, Mr. Collier Woods, was our principal. He didn't start out as the principal. He was our algebra instructor. Mr. Stevenson, James Stevenson, was the principal, and then he retired, and Collier Woods became our principal. So we would go to Vanderbilt on Saturday mornings with Mr. Collier Woods as our principal / algebra teacher. And we would sit in those sessions with special classes to learn how to master mathematics. It was so fun. And then my home economics teacher, Miss Pearlie Mae Martin, would drive us to Knoxville, to UT Knoxville campus, and we would compete in home economics. And then Miss Sophie Kennard, then she's Miss Sophie Beeman now, because she was young when she first started with us, and we broke her in. She was so good to us, and we would compete in typing contests.
Oh, wow.
We had to type 52 words a minute, keyboarding.
But on a
was
manual,
on a
like
manual
ding and
typewriter.
slide
Now is
and-
the time all good men must come to the aid of their country.
Yep. I have heard that before. Oh, that's funny. I taught keyboarding for a period of time, so I'm familiar. So you graduate from a segregated school.
Exactly.
The next year is when it finally does come to a head.
That's true.
What was going through your mind? Relive that for a minute.
Okay. Well, I can recall before there was a formal orientation, student orientation. It was my first experience in a mainstream environment. So the first thing my dad did and my mom was to walk me through the campus, the MTSU campus,
MTSU, okay.
so that we could become familiar with the buildings. Okay.
Were they familiar with the buildings
No.
already? Okay.
We just
So you're all exploring together.
we're just exploring the campus together.
You didn't have GPS on your phone
No.
either, did you?
By no means. But we memorized the buildings because he wanted to make sure I was familiar with the campus so that I could feel safer
Sure.
about it. Now, at the same time, you looked for people who had friendly eyes, who could
Okay.
embrace you in a way without really saying anything. And guess who that was? That was Jan Hayes.
I'm seeing a pattern here.
So that's why, and Dean Hayes, that's why when the word got out, take their classes. They will grade you fairly and they expect you to learn.
Wow.
So they did not, there were no excuses. You could not make excuses for not learning. And they taught thoroughly. So you did not want to disappoint them. But there were others. For example, I mentioned Ruth Boughton. Well, her husband, Will Boughton, was the first education dean on the campus. And then we had Sam Ingram, who eventually became the university president. So Sam Ingram was the president. He was my dean in the College of Education, but he then became the president that hired me on the MTSU campus.
Okay.
And even now, because I didn't have my doctorate degree when I reported to campus for work in 1985, and he would always give me the best advice. And one of the best nuggets of advice he gave me regarding my dissertation was within every 24 hours, you are to work on writing that dissertation. And I listened to that and took it to heart. And Ingram had the best laugh. He still does. But it was, you have these full circle moments and you have those connections where you do not ever want to disappoint the people who believe in you.
I completely relate to that. Yeah.
Yes.
Wow. So, did you participate in marches and things of that nature?
Well, we were always active in the community because it wasn't just an MTSU thing. And we were trained in nonviolence,
right?
Because we were among the first, not the very first, we were among the first on the campus to integrate the campus. For example, my husband joined the athletics department as a student athlete in 1969. He and his classmate, Ed Miller, they grew up in the same neighborhood, graduated from Franklin County High School, were the first two African American football players to sign a full scholarship.
Oh, wow.
Under Bubba Murphy, Coach Murphy. Well, they imagine as the first football players to sign what that was like for him and for both of them. But at some point, you have to come to terms with allowing your skills, your talents, and your intellect to represent not only who you are, but to represent your family and your community.
It's suddenly bigger than just you, isn't it?
Exactly. And the church people always believed that it was something special and you are unique and we're counting on you to pave the trail for those that's coming behind you.
However many, all the generations.
Exactly.
1, 2, 3.
That's true. That's true. So we had to make it work.
Yeah.
Because the people in the community, my peers, I walked to school every day because transportation wasn't that available for us. But I lived on First Avenue, so we lived in an integrated community. And I walked to school every day. But the members of my community would say, leave her alone. She's going to be a teacher. They would protect me and they kept watchful eyes over me.
Wow.
Back and forth to school, to campus every day.
Wow.
So and if they had that much belief in your ability to be successful, you could not afford to let them down.
Yeah, absolutely. I told you, Trent. I told you, man. Like, I don't even know what to, I told you.
So it wasn't about just me. It was about those of us who others sacrifice for. But it wasn't just me as a Black female. There was a lot of support from mainstream America who wanted to make this work for everyone.
And I can only go by what I think what I would have done then. And I think that it wouldn't have just been that I wanted it to work, because to me that's still selfish. It had to work.
It had
because
to work.
It was ridiculous. Like it didn't make any sense for it to not work, if that makes sense.
And because, see, the only other option for us was to attend Tennessee State University. My parents were working class, poor, and we couldn't afford to go to Tennessee, because had we gone to TSU, that would require either transportation, which
significant
we didn't have,
transportation,
right, and then if we stayed on campus, room and board, which we didn't have. So, and I was 4 blocks from the MTSU campus, so that was the only choice I had.
Just the sheer determination, the sheer, this is going to work.
Exactly.
And I'm going to make sure that it works.
That's
and
right.
All of these people here are going to help me make sure that it works.
True.
And I can't let them down.
I know. And our teachers taught us so well the content, and they taught it in this way. Here are the skills that you need to be a part of mainstream. Here are the literature skills, the composition skills, the mathematics skills. And I was even a part of all the extracurricular activities because I was a busybody. So I love
that hasn't changed, has it?
So the teachers would embrace us. I kept the scores for the basketball team. I still have the scorebook for the Holloway High School basketball team.
That is so cool. That is so cool.
And I was a part of the marching band. And as the last graduating class from Holloway, guess what? I stole my band uniform.
I love it.
It was so fun because I was an office worker, and I was an office worker not because I wanted to go into being a secretary or any. I just wanted to go through the student files.
You like to be in the know. I know exactly what
so
that
fun.
was. Yeah.
It was so fun.
I know exactly what that was.
But I returned the band uniform and my clarinet and donated it to the Bradley Academy Museum and Cultural Center.
Well, that was very kind of you. I need to go see that in the Cultural Center. All right, so we're going to shift gears just a little bit because we've got something cool coming up, and we're going to run out of time here in just a few minutes.
All right.
But I don't want to let this go by. There's something coming up in April.
Yes.
That you are a part of, and I would like to hear more about the Leading Ladies.
Okay. These are the Leading Ladies Project. I was pulled into this program. Andrea Lowry. Mm-hmm. Oh my, isn't it wonderful?
You talk about an energetic human being right there, right?
She is a mover and a shaker,
she
right?
Is, yes.
So I have been fortunate enough to collect a few artifacts of leaders within our community, the local community, and she asked me to join so that I could share those stories and events and experiences with a lot of the leaders that made great impressions in my life.
Mhm.
So I've just had an outstanding opportunity during the COVID season. Uh, we started pre-pandemic, and then pandemic we'd work via Zoom to showcase the leadership skills and commitment from the local leaders within the Murfreesboro community.
This is a multifaceted project, right? So there's a
Yes.
story collection. If I remember correctly, there's videoed interviews. Is that
We have interviews, we have stories, we have artifacts. For example, I mentioned that Mrs. Emma G. Roberts was my elementary school principal,
Mhm.
and such a lady leader. One of the things that I loved about Mrs. Roberts was, as a principal, she went back to school and earned her master's degree at Columbia University in New
Wow.
York. And that was always something I looked up to.
Yeah,
So
that's no small feat.
I know, I know. So that continuing education piece was very important to me. And as I began to be mentored by Mrs. Roberts, she had a tradition, and she loved gold and white. So her Christmas tree was gold and white. She drove a gold Cadillac. She was just gold and white. But every year she would send me a Christmas card. And I've collected all those cards, and she would write great letters to me. And so I'm sharing that through the Leading Ladies Project with the members of our community.
Now, this is the project. It's a big project. It's ongoing.
It is.
There's a tremendous archive that's already being built, and it will continue to
Yes.
be added onto. But it's also kind of culminating in April with a presentation. Is that correct?
Exactly. And we're working with Patience Long at the Center for the Arts,
Mhm.
who has been coordinating all of this for us.
Mhm.
So
Patience is awesome. Shout out to her.
oh, she is just
Mhm.
amazing to work with. So we're just thrilled to be able to share the visuals, because there's some artwork that's really critical to the project, the development of the project, and the great stories about these women. Because, see, as I became dean, picking up on the legacy of Dean Will Boughton, these three ladies, Mary Tom Berry, Miss Ruth Boughton, and Emma Roberts, would take me to lunch every month and just share their wisdom with me
Mhm.
about professional development, the commitment to the students on the MTSU campus, and how to just make sure that you're enriching the lives of other people.
It's pouring into you.
Just pouring into me. Now, one of my favorite stories about the three ladies is they asked me to meet them for lunch at the Doubletree Hotel, the Burger Bar.
Uh-huh.
Okay. And I thought that's unusual for the three, because they were just such classy individuals. So,
Uh-huh.
and I attended that lunch thinking, are they going to pull out a bottle of beer or something?
Not that there's anything wrong with beer.
Nothing wrong with beer. We love promoting the people who are in that business. And at that time, it was 2002, and my name had been submitted as president of Tennessee State University. And I made it to the finalist group, the top 5 candidates
Wow.
in the pool. And they wanted to meet with me to tell me, give me their best advice. And their best advice at that time was, now, that job is just a bit too much. And we're here to meet with you to tell you to pull your name out of that
It was an intervention, wasn't it?
It was divine intervention. Because they said, if you accepted that job, if you got an offer, it would kill you. and we're here to save your life.
Well, there you go. And you did it over a burger and a bottle of beer.
I did. I did.
Oh, that is fantastic.
Yes.
Well, Dr. Bonner, what are some things? Let's shift gears again.
Okay.
Murfreesboro Rotary Club. What are some things that the community might be able to get involved with with you guys? What do you guys have coming up?
Well, one of the things that I love about Murfreesboro is that there's never a dull moment.
That is a fact. If you're bored here, it's your fault. That's right.
And so there's so much that we can work on together, particularly in helping our young people, because I just believe everybody should have an opportunity to a quality educational experience. So whether it's a 4-year institution, vocational ed, military, or workforce, it does not matter. Let's make sure we prepare students, give them the skills, and expose them to the opportunities and options that they have in life. So that's a no-brainer. Let's look at the next generation and make sure that we're pouring into them in the same way that people took the time to pour into us.
One of my favorite things that I'll pick out of what you just said is you didn't say 4-year education and stop.
Right.
You said vocational ed, military, trade school, an apprenticeship program through workforce.
Yes.
Whatever that looks like. I think one of the biggest things that we have done wrong, if you will, over the last 25 years is to equate a 4-year degree with success.
Yeah.
And number one, a 4-year degree does not guarantee success, nor does success depend on a 4-year degree.
Exactly.
And then we get into, we could have a whole podcast on defining success. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
So what does that look like? Is that an income thing? Is it a life quality? Is it what you are able to impact your kids, how you impact your community? There's all kinds of measures of success.
Well, every individual is created for purpose. And our role is to help individuals to define their purpose, regardless of the options that they select. It's important that we give them the opportunity through the development of the skills and the exposure. That is so important to me, making sure that they're appropriately exposed to the opportunities so that they can make the best decision for them.
Love that.
So finding purpose is really very important.
And giving license to explore what that purpose might be.
Exactly. Give them permission to do that.
Yes.
Unapologetically.
I love it. I love it, y'all. I don't even know how to go to anything else from that. So, you've got to come back to the podcast.
Oh, I look forward to it. I'd love to have my daughter come.
That'd be fantastic. I have not ever met Tracy. We've interacted on Facebook.
Really?
Yeah. When your stuff got shared and she interacted, but I've never met her in person. So that would be fantastic. We'd love to have her.
We'll have to come out and hang out with you.
Oh my gosh. How cool would it be to have both of y'all at the same time on a pot? Oh my gosh. I would lose my mind, y'all. But anyway, so Dr. Bonner, you definitely need to come back.
Okay.
And I appreciate you.
Invitation accepted. But I'm so proud that you reached out to ask me to come and join you. What an honor.
Well, just consider this. It's an open door. Okay. So anytime that you just want to pop through that door right there and come and hang out, you are absolutely welcome. Cammie, the production assistant, will welcome you as well. There she is. Hi, Cammie. And it'll be fantastic.
Well, she sets the bar really high.
She's a pretty cute production assistant, that's for sure. Y'all check out the Leading Ladies program. There's a play coming up. It's going to be over at Patterson Park at the theater inside Patterson Park, which is very close to Holloway High School.
Holloway High School. That was my playground.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
where my mom played softball. My dad played football.
I love it.
I was in the marching band. So
Yeah.
that's my stomping ground.
I love it. So y'all check that out. And I know that if you needed something, you can reach out to Dr. Bonner.
Please do.
And obviously you can reach out to me as well. If you need something real estate related, give me a shout. If you need a loan, reach out to Bryan Nale over with First Horizon. It's hard for me to switch gears, man. I'm struggling with that a little bit. And then, of course, Spread the Positive, the mission behind Spread the Positive, Trent Denson, my man over there. We got to hang out at the Preds outdoor hockey game at the Titan Stadium on Saturday. And let me just say, Trent is a blast. So if you want to hang out with somebody that's a lot of fun, call Trent up and go hang out with him. I'm going to leave it at that, buddy.
Okay.
You don't have to say anything. You're not
I
self-incriminate.
clarified on the way in.
Yeah.
Sometimes Spread the Positive is not 24/7.
No self-incrimination is necessary there, Trent.
Appreciate you, Dr. Bonner. That was amazing.
Wow.
Thank you for everything.
Well,
and
thank
you need your
you.
show. She needs a show.
She does need a show.
Yeah.
Can you imagine just storytelling?
Yeah, once a week, just once a week,
Yeah.
1 hour.
Oh, listen, that's
Hey.
only because I'm old.
Hey, if
Yeah.
you've done the radio thing, you can.
That's
hey,
right.
This is a lot easier.
So
than
let's do this, Trent. If you're interested in sponsoring a Dr. Bonner podcast,
Oh my.
and
Come
you
on.
want to put some money where her mouth is because she is awesome
that. Yeah.
and has
Speaking
so
nothing but
many
truth,
stories
man. Yes.
and so much encouragement. If you're interested in sponsoring a Dr. Bonner podcast, give us a call
Or any other show too.
or any other show, but specifically that one.
Dr. Bonner, yes.
Any other show.
Yeah.
We would love to talk to you about that.
Thank you.
Oh,
Thank you seriously for
so
everything.
much.
That was a great episode.
You all are doing such a great job for this community. What a great service
Hey,
it is.
Thank you very much.
It's
fun.
refreshing.
Thank you.
You need anything else, give us a call. Otherwise, have a fantastic week. And I'm going to steal John's line for a second. Go put a smile on someone's face.
Hey, there you go.
Oh,
And just go spread some
Fabulous.
positive vibes.
That's
thanks.
it.
Have a good
Appreciate
week.
y'all.
bye.